So a new magazine that I signed up for, and I got the first issue of, is Real Simple. Now, it's never been one of my favorites, but because they gave me such an amazing deal, I signed up for at least 1 year of it. So, with that being said, let's see what we got in store for us, because I do have some paper clips. There was a quote in this December 2021 Real Simple. It says, "This is the season when people of all faiths and cultures are pushing back against the planetary darkness. We string bulbs, ignite bonfires, and light candles, and we sing." That's from Anita Diamant in Tablet of December 24th of 2019. Okay, moving forward. The editor talks about the issue, which I'm not going to share that. If you want to read that, you can get the book. There was I add here for Breathe Better Holiday Gift Saving Hack and Find Your New Scent. It says a simple twist, grand openings, everything you need to rip, unwrap, and start revealing, batteries included, by Martha Upton. It says the can opener can save your sanity, for the unopenable clamshell packaging is the same gadget that slices through a can of cranberry sauce. Just clamp that opener onto the package edge, twist and handle, and voila. It cuts a slit to burst out whatever goodie is inside. There's more on the next page. Your gift unwrapping toolkit, batteries. They're not always included, and you know the plea for AAs, no make that AAAs, is coming. Stock up on batteries, look for rechargeable options, and don't forget C's and D's, which you might need for larger toys. We love the battery organizer and the tester for $18 at containerstore.com. It neatly holds in different types of batteries and lets you know when you have a dud on your hands. Grab a USB power adapter too, since they're often required for rechargeable toys. Screwdriver set. Curse you, tiny screw. Have your screwdrivers on hand for opening battery compartments. Don't forget the mini ones that come in an eyeglass repair kit, like the CVS Health eyeglass repair kit for $4 at cvs.com. Scissors. One pair is nice, but two is better if you're opening with a few people. Keep a kid-friendly version accessible so you have little ones on hand too that can help. Smartphone camera. Gift cards are often misplaced during the unwrapping rush. Snap a photo of the card and the number and activation code right away. If the card is lost, you can still use the balance or talk to a customer service rep about a possible replacement. Bags. Set out bags for trash, glitter-coated paper that can be recycled, one bag for recycling, and plain gift wrap, greeting cards, and large tote for reusable keepers, gift bags, ribbons, boxes, clearly labeled each bag. Everyone knows what goes where. Bins or boxes. Designate a bin or box for each family member and label it. This way everyone has a place to stash their loot so nothing gets accidentally tossed. Moving forward. This time of year I thought this is a good one. How Bygones Become Bygones, The Art of Forgiving, Moving On, and Letting Go by Amy Macklin, illustration by Ellie Tozzoni. It's that time of year when we are reminded to draw the people near that we love even closer, to spread peace and good cheer and goodwill, to forgive whatever wrongs have been done to us, but forgiveness can become a complicated net full of seemingly impossible tangled emotional knots. So let's continue on. According to one survey, some 62% of us crave more forgiveness in our life. How can we unravel our deep-seated feelings for those who have profoundly hurt or angered us? For those who still leave us with a bitter taste, whether it's a close friend, years estranged, a long-time rival, or our own parents, even if we accept us, the Alexander Poem goes that to err is human and to forgive is divine. Wouldn't it be more divine if forgiveness was just a little easier? These are the thorny questions that have been given rise to forgiveness research, an area that mushroomed over the past 30 years, says Everett Worthington, Ph.D., Professor Emeritus of Psychology at Virginia Commonwealth University and one of the country's foremost experts of the topic. In 1998, when I edited a book on forgiveness, there were 58 empirical studies, he said. This year we did a second edition and there were more than 2,500. A clinical psychologist, Worthington became interested in forgiveness as a couple therapist, working with partners struggling in crucible of mistakes, misunderstandings, pardon, and grace that constitutes modern marriage. Near the end of the therapy, after we'd worked on communication and intimacy and conflict resolution, I would offer couples a chance to work on forgiveness, and they almost always jumped at it, Worthington says. Then I say, okay, how about each of you makes a list of several things for which you would like to ask your partner for forgiveness. I get that deer in the headlight look, like, no, wait, I thought. Sorry. No, wait, I thought. The other person was the one who needed the forgiveness. But once each partner stopped insisting that they were the bad guy, Worthington added, confession and acceptance of responsibility helped them soften towards each other. According to a survey by Fetzer Institute, some 62% of us crave more than forgiveness in our life. As researchers could tell us, forgiveness is a good for our hearts, and not only metaphorically. It can reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol, which may lower the risk of heart attack, heart disease, and improve cholesterol, lessen anxiety, and ease physical pain. And as we age, the link between our relationships and our health grows even stronger. So it's as if the less time we have, the more we treasure the love we found and long to recapture or preserve it. If you want to forgive someone else, you want to reach, and that's recall the hurt, write a few lines about the wrong that you want to forgive. How did you feel? How did the other person react? This is probably a story that you've told yourself repeatedly. Now try writing it again from a more objective third-person perspective and get some distance from it. What are the differences between the first and the second version of your story? If you haven't already made a conscious decision to forgive, this is called a, quote, decisional forgiveness, end quote. With time, it may turn into an emotional forgiveness in which you replace negative feelings about your wrongdoer with more positive ones, such as empathy and compassion. If you're not ready to do this, that's okay. Building forgiveness is like building a muscle. You have to strain it in order to strengthen it. E. Empathize with your partner. We've all hurt each other without wanting to. Write a few sentences about a time when you hurt someone before, during, and after you hurt the person. What did you feel, think, and see and do? Can you try to imagine that your wrongdoer might not have meant to harm you? Now pretend that the other person is sitting in an empty chair across from you. Talk to them, pouring your heart out. Once you had your say, sit in the chair and talk back to the imaginary one, just as you or that other person might. This may sound a little nutty, but research shows it's one of the most effective things that you can do to forgive the wrongdoer. It may even build empathy or at least compassion, which can help you heal from the hurt. A. Altruistic gift. Give forgiveness as an unselfish gift, one the offender doesn't receive. We can remember that we wronged someone, maybe a parent, sibling, or friend, and have been forgiven. We felt light and free. By forgiving unselfishly, you can give that gift to one who hurt you. C. Commit. After you've forgiven, write a note to yourself, something as simple as, today I forgave the person's name for hurting me. H. Hold on to forgiveness. Sometimes it's easy to drift back into those negative feelings. You may need to repeat one more of these steps above, which is normal. Think of it like taking medicine for a fever. One dose may initially bring down the fever, but it rises again. You may need several doses before you are healed for good. The Reach Forgiveness intervention was designed by Everett Worthington, author of Moving Forward, 6 Steps to Forgiving Yourself and Breaking Free from the Past. Whew. And there's only 3 more pages. Okay, if you want to forgive yourself, relax your own high standards. Do you hold yourself to impossible standards, criticizing yourself for not doing your work of parenting or relationships, quote-unquote, perfectly? You like doing everything for others, too. Forgiving yourself should be a regular for even a flawed person who cultivates an inner atmosphere or ease of humor and love, which spills over in relationships. Elizabeth Lesser. Make amends. Advocates of self-forgiveness often describe it as something that happens inside us, but I believe if you want to forgive yourself, it's best to acknowledge that you are wrong and make amends to the person you hurt. If that's not possible, you may be able to critique your offense and demonstrate your commitment to not repeat it in the new relationship. Self-forgiveness isn't something you do, to make yourself feel better. It's something you do to make yourself be better. Janice Abrams Spring. Be humble. Here's an often cited saying: humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means freedom from having to think about yourself at all. Self-forgiveness lets us shift our focus to live humbly for the benefit of others, which gives us meaning and purpose on earth. When you're struggling, try using the REACH method for yourself that we just talked about. It's helped me work through my own emotional forgiveness. Everett Worthington. For most of us, forgiveness is a gradual process. Consider it a model that allows for partial forgiveness, forgiving enough. You know how they say, if you only had a little time left, what would you want most to do with it? Most people say they don't say they would go skydiving or visit Paris. They say that they want to make it right with the people in their lives, says Elizabeth Lesser, co-founder of Omega Institute, a retreat center in Rhinebeck, New York, and the author of Morrow, Love, Loss, and What Matters Most, a memoir of her final months with her sister who died of lymphoma in January 2015. I got to live this truth with my sister when I was her bone marrow donor. We ended up practicing the purest form of forgiveness I've ever experienced. We called it our soul marrow transplant because we believed the bone marrow transplant would work better if we practiced radical forgiveness. Because we had to. We both stepped away from our egos and need to be right. We cleaned up our years of our past hurts, myths, and misconceptions based of roles we assumed in childhood, dependable, practical Maggie and Liz with her head in the clouds, just by stopping listening to each other's stories, fears, experiences, and needs. Of course, you don't have, and you shouldn't, wait until the people in your lives are ill or dying, Lester hastens to add. Clean it up now, she says. Go together to a therapist or a coach if you need help. And if the other person doesn't want to dance with you, if they're not up for the courage it takes to put down the past, then you can still free yourself from the bitterness and the pain of doing your own work by letting it go and moving on. For tips on getting started, check out If You Want to Go Forgive Someone Else, see on page 190, which we read that. If you want to forgive yourself is at the next page. This undoubtedly easier said than done, especially if we subscribe to the idea that we can grant absolution in one transcendent beam of light. In fact, forgiveness is more of a process than a binding epiphany. Most of us have suffered intrapersonal wounds, and we like to heal, says Janice Abrams Spring, Ph.D., a clinical psychologist and the author of How Can I Forgive You? We may even want to forgive for us to offer genuine forgiveness for the person who hurt us. Must be willing to hear out our hurt and offer a heartfelt apology, which goes beyond I'm sorry and involves spelling out what they're sorry for. It may help the hurt party to realize forgiveness doesn't have to be 100%. We may forgive 30%, but as the person who hurt us makes good, if we are willing to hear out the hurt and offer a genuine apology for our forgiveness, we may grow. Even if the person who wronged us is not able to understand, you can avail yourself to the healing power of forgiveness, which doesn't have to be bestowed easily like a fairy godmother waving a magic wand. You don't need to forgive totally and completely in that very moment. Maybe you can forgive just enough to move forward, because ultimately, though forgiveness is a gift you give the person who hurt you, and it's also, and perhaps more importantly, a gift you give yourself. Profiles and Courage. The Forgiveness Project chronicles incredible stories of reconciliation. In a polarized world, we need forgiveness more than ever, a notion that inspired journalist Marina Conscatio to found the UK-based Forgiveness Project in 2004 amid her acrimonious early days of the Iraq War. The nonprofit has collected some 160 stories from those who have rebuilt their lives following trauma. Among the forgivers who have shared their experiences, Gil Hicks lost both legs in London suicide bombing in 2005 and went on to become a peace activist, forgiving dialogues with Muslim groups. Bassem Armen from a West Bank was in prison for attempting to blow up a Razi convoy. He saw a film about the Holocaust that moved him to tears, leading later to him to befriend an Israeli guard and later confound the combatants for peace. Linda and Peter Bale's daughter, Amy, an American Fulbright scholar who was working against apartheid in South Africa, was murdered near Cape Town 5 years after the 4 young men accused the killing were convicted. They granted immunity for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission with the support of the Beals. Amy's parents eventually met the convicted attackers, 2 of whom went to work at Amy Beals Foundation Trust in Cape Town, and now known as the Amy Foundation. The extraordinary turn of events happened because the Beals started out with curiosity, Kirikako says. They wondered, and what conditions might lead to a black youth in South Africa seeing a white woman's life as worthless. In general, she adds, those who manage profound feats of forgiveness are driven by curiosity. It fuels an open mind as you move them from why me to why them. Empathy and desire to make a meaning out of adversity. Okay, only one more page to share with you. I have marked, if I can get to it. Now the book wants to be a mean book. Okay, new season meditation. We want you to breathe. Relax your gaze as it falls naturally on this image. It's a picture of a tree with ice on it, and it's a beautiful picture. Take a few deep and purposeful breaths. What does the air feel like when it fills your nose, when it leaves your mouth? Consider the tree in this picture. Is it deep in the winter slumber or readying for this next season? Remember that, just like this tree, you need to pause and grow. Rest, it's necessary for resilience. From my life, a personalized mindfulness app. And we've covered the Real Simple magazine. So until tomorrow, which we don't know if there'll be magazines or not tomorrow, but just saying, right now we've got 2 more magazines to go, and yes, one is the Woman's World magazine for this week. So I apologize, I'm behind. I usually don't like to get this far behind, but I've been behind on a lot of things, and I'm just upset with myself more than anything. And thank you for watching. God bless each and every one of you. And also, we are amongst the 12 days before Christmas. One of my favorite Hallmark movies is on the 12th day of Christmas, where it involves Mitch, this radio DJ, getting gifts from a mysterious person, but it's the newspaper lady that he's known for some years. And it gets revealed later on in the Hallmark movie. But it's just a sweet thing and a sweet gesture. So maybe go out there and make somebody smile for just 2.2 seconds and be kind and generous to someone else and put someone else before your own needs and wants and just be kind. I hope to see you tomorrow. God bless.